And then if I come from Batuta along the Birdsville Development Road into Birdsville, that'll be just perfect, yeah. Oh, g'day guys, how you going? Rob here. Just finishing off my final preparations for a bit of a trip I've been planning for quite a while. Some of you have been asking about it and wanting an update. Well, it's the final night before I head out tomorrow, and thought I'd just check in and let everybody know what's going on. And that right there, folks, is how it all started. Goodness me, looking back at that opening scene there really makes me giggle, I tell ya. Hi everyone, Rob the Wanderer here. Well, this here is the final episode in my first Outback Trip series. It was an unplanned, unscripted, unmapped, with no real deadline drive into the Outback to check out places I'd always wanted to see. A few days before I left, I bought this GoPro. Now, all of a sudden, this YouTube channel, after I bought this GoPro, well, it was born. And I was bringing you all along with me as I headed off into the distance. If you haven't seen the episodes, folks, I'll link the playlist here in the corner somewhere, and as well as in the description below, so make sure you can go check them all out. Well, the trip ended in a race to get home as some work commitments came up whilst on the trip. So instead of a final episode of me driving home, I thought, hey, we could take a look back at some of the best bits all in one episode. So sit back, grab yourself an ice cold sarsaparilla, and let's head back to the Outback. Also folks, send in any questions you may have below or on my socials, as I'm looking to do a Q&A episode for you all, answering all your questions. It can be about anything at all. It can be about the car, the modifications, the camping gear I use, what got used the most, what I didn't use at all, anything you like really, and I'll make sure I get to it. All right folks, speaking of get to it, let's get into it. Here we go. So let's go through it, no particular order. First up, fire extinguisher. Self-explanatory, really. Alrighty folks, episodes 1, 2 and 3. I went for the introduction and what you need angle. Remember guys, I've never done this kind of thing before, so I thought I was being quite clever. Well, I'll let you be the judge of that. So if you get done by a snake, which heaven forbid that doesn't happen to me or you or anybody else, there's bandages, instructions, all that sort of thing on how to deal with that, as well as a full first aid kit for your general sort of first aid requirements, cuts and things like that. I have to say though, all these tips, they are spot on. I still highly recommend checking out the episode before going on a long trip. If only loading up for camping was this fast. Off and running, on the road at last, driving to our first night's campsite, a free camp out near Bollen, which is just on the other side of St. George. Now, it wasn't until episode 4 that the trip actually got underway. Brisbane to Bollen. Now, after a long first day drive, my first camp was at a riverbank on one side and a cemetery on the other. This is going to be a magnificent spot. So right here is where I'm going to go. Just here, above me, there's no trees to fall on me, no widowmakers, which is good. And we'll get set up, sit down for 5 minutes, crack a beer, and chill out. A great spot to camp overnight when pushing west from Brisbane, folks. It gave a real taste of things to come. Episode 5 took us to Cunnamulla and out near Thargomindah to what was to be one of the best campsites I have ever been to. Definitely one of my favourite episodes, this one. Alrighty guys, welcome to Cunnamulla. This is the main street. Famous Cunnamulla fella. Made famous by Slim Dusty, of course. Pioneer of the Outback country music scene, absolutely. A great song if you haven't heard it before. So in all these Outback towns, guys, they've started painting all the silos. It's something you all should try if you ever get to Cunnamulla. It's a camel burger. So let's open him up and check it out. It's got all the works on it. I asked for everything with tomato sauce. And look at that. It's a bit hard, probably a bit hard to see, but you can see the camel meat just in there. And I think there's only one thing to do, and that's to give it a taste test. Look at that. Tell you what, oh yeah, I like that. Now folks, my reaction there was truly genuine. that burger, my goodness, that camel meat, it was so tasty. In Cunnamulla, a purchase was made. Been a new addition to the family, an unexpected addition. That's the hat. So, picked him up in Cunnamulla, and from a lovely lady there, a shop called Country Wear. So, you know, it is what it says it is. Country Wear, this store. Lovely lady in there. Nice little Akubra. This is a Riverina hat. I quite like it. And if you don't like it, that's not my problem. About 50 clicks out of Thargomindah. This is Lake Bindagolly. And a massive lake out here in the middle of nowhere. On the far side of the highway, you can't quite see the highway. So this will be tonight's camp spot. Get your own firewood here. So I just went up and found a dead tree and got the chainsaw out and got myself a nice little collection of firewood. So this is us for tonight. A little bit more than what I set up last night. And at Wallam Creek, swag out again, ready to rock and roll. The old chair. A couple of tables for cooking up tonight, and that's it. Nice and easy, guys. Nice and simple. You don't need to make this hard. It was at this campsite, guys, that I really got to see what the Outback really is all about. The colours at sunset, my goodness, they were just beautiful. Thargomindah really is a traditional outback town, folks, which even has a house on display back from when times were a lot harder indeed. Now in Thargomindah, just came across this old little historical house on the corner of the main street. It says it's closed, but let's see. We're in. Oh wow. What a classic 1800s, early 1900s house for out here. A gyrocopter rotor blade from the first Mad Max movie. That's pretty cool. Certificate of title for Sydney Kidman. Obviously the Kidmans owned at one stage most of Australia with pastoral land. And this is obviously the main entertaining area. Great big fireplace. Very cool. Old gramophone. Baby's room. Or a sitting room, perhaps. An old rocker chair in the corner. Fireplace. Now, this trip was taken during the time of lockdowns and border closures. Border declaration and form requirements were changing daily. Now, as I left Thargomindah, I was genuinely concerned about my diesel supply situation. Just went into the cop shop and got as far as the front gate because it's Sunday and, well, the cops don't work on Sunday, it seems. So I've got my passes and everything here. I wanted to check before heading off, but there's no one around. So it'll just be off into the great nether. I've come from Thargomindah, so 126 k's back that way. Back that way, and we're heading down to the dig tree. And it's not until you come out here that I think you realise how big this country really is, I tell you. It was an absolute beeline for the dig tree in episode 7, passing through the Channel Country. The reason it's all green here at the moment, and mostly all year round, is because we're in the middle of one of the largest river systems in the world. Now, I'm not down in South Australia, this isn't part of the Murray. I do believe some of this meets up with it though. This is Cooper Creek, so part of the Channel Country area, Cooper Creek and Wilson's Creek. It's interesting that they call them creeks when the thing's about 20 or 30 kilometres wide. Now on the other side of that channel, I tell you, it was just flat. The Burke and Wills tree really is a piece of Aussie history everyone should see, guys. The campground was amazing. The tree, it actually had a really eerie feel about it. And knowing that the area looked almost identical now as it did back then was just incredible and added an extra element to the experience. Just like Burke and Wills, it looks like there's no party here to greet us. All very quiet. Just to show off the latest fashion accessory for out here in the bush. The old fly net, mosquito net, works a treat. Pretty cool. They've got, just turn the camera around, they've got some kayak hire and stuff. Wow, I don't think you hire it as such. I think you just get in it and go down to the lake, down to the river here. This is the Cooper Creek still, the one we crossed earlier. Further up, you probably might not be able to see it in the camera, but whole stack of pelicans up there. Plenty of water in it, guys. Plenty of water, which is fantastic. As you can see, absolutely stunning. The cloud in the sky. These are the two trees here. Just hopefully see the lettering in there. It's very hard to see even through bare eyes, like naked eyes. Yeah, these are the two trees that they came back to, guys. Since the area was taken over by a station in about 15 years after they came through, what they've done is they've left this whole area as is. So pretty much what you see, apart from the trees obviously probably being a considerably bit bigger, is exactly how Burke and Wills found it when they came back. So obviously without the walkway and everything, obviously. What you see here is what they would have seen. Same creek, obviously, layout, that kind of thing. Obviously nature changes a little bit over time, but essentially, this is it. This is how they found it. Now the people who took over the station, they wanted to leave a bit of their memorial on the actual dig tree. But the station owner said, no, let's leave those trees be. They've got enough history in them already. And the memorial was placed on a tree just here. And they call it the face. And you can see there, hopefully, they've marked out Burke's face. Check out the full episode to see more of the Burke and Wills tree, folks. I'll link it down below. It really is a must-do stop. Now, it's time to try my luck at the border. G'day, mate.
How you going, mate?
Good, yourself?
Alright, just you, is it?
Just me. Only old me.
Just on your lonesome.
Yeah, mate.
So,
sometimes it's better, isn't it?
So just for work, is it? Or touring?
Just travelling around, mate. We just went to the Burke and Wills tree. And
not bad, eh?
it's bloody gorgeous. Although the flies are getting pretty bad now out there. So I hightailed it out of there this morning. They're just looking to go to Inaminka to fuel up again.
And then what are you doing?
Coming back to go to, is it Uramanga?
Uramanga, yeah.
Yep. And stay there the night.
That's right. So what you do is when you come back through, we'll go through all the drama again.
Yeah, no worries.
But, so as long as you've got your South Australian pass, yep, that's fine. We're not really worried about it, it's just the South Australian cops if they pull you up.
Fair enough, no dramas.
Yeah, this one's still current. So yeah, that one's fine.
Yeah, beauty.
Yep, and then when you come back in, we'll go through the motions.
Just pull up and
again,
do it again. No dramas at all. All right, mate.
Very good. Well,
too easy.
I'll see you in a couple of hours then.
No dramas. Thanks, buddy.
Righto, mate.
See ya. Well, there you go, guys. We made it. We're through. Welcome to South Australia. Now, let's go get some fuel. You have no idea how relieved I was to get past that border. As you can see in the background, there was nothing around for miles. Now it was time for a quick visit into South Australia, and just wait until you see the diesel price. And then, hopefully, we can move on to Birdsville. First stop, before I even get fuel, is Burke's grave. And this is the spot where they found him. He was found with a pistol in his hand, with the bullet still in it. This is where it all came to an end. Very sad ending, if you ask me, considering he should have been rescued. He should have stayed at the dig tree. He should have waited for the parties. His own ignorance and arrogance, the way he treated the Aboriginal people at the time, led to his own downfall. Very, very sad. Alrighty guys, I'm going to apologise in advance for the wind noise. Here we are. This is Inaminka. This is what you get in Inaminka. The pub's been here since about 1886 or something. Petrol station, thank goodness, it's the only one really around here. $1.90 a litre, so that's a bit of a hit to the hip pocket. The run from Windora to Birdsville is high on many bucket lists, including mine, so I was super excited to be hitting that famous piece of road. Back in Queensland, beautiful one day, perfect the next apparently. I'd say it's pretty perfect right now. Not a cloud in the sky, not a soul to be seen. It's fantastic. Coming back across the Cooper Creek, guys, and looks like some other people are coming back across the Cooper Creek too. Just go nice and slow through this, guys. If there's any young calves, you got to really watch them because they're the ones that'll just run any direction because they're a bit clueless. I was given a heads up by of this herd by a truck driver who just went past me earlier. Said there was cattle on the road, and sure enough, there is. So yeah, they don't look too worried. Neither do I. This guy, oh, what do you want, mate? This guy wants to go. Nah. They're all pretty friendly. Big guy. And there you go. Safely negotiated. Back to the road. An old relic of Windora, the old courthouse. Cool story about this is now someone actually lives in there. And they call it Tarpot's little house on the corner. So whoever Tarpot is, obviously lives there. And what an amazing piece of history to live in. Here in Windora. 10:30 AM. Action packed. Straight in, straight out. Head up there, refuel, and start our way to Birdsville. What you're looking at here, folks, is what's left of the JC Hotel. We're about 80 k's west of Windora, where once stood a hotel. This is all that's left. It all went belly up for them, slowly over time, and people pilfering things. The hotel's finally almost gone back to the original landscape. Only a few things left. This could have been a front door, it could have been a horse binding post where you tie your horse up. And these are pretty cool too. Original nails that would have been in the building, which is pretty cool. Got a bit of a whirly wind here, guys. Don't know if you can see that in the camera. Hopefully you can. Just passing through. Pretty awesome. Move. 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 No. Yes, there you go. So out here, folks, in the middle of nowhere, we have a well. This is called Native Well. Dry at the moment, but it does fill up after some rain. Oh, apologies for the shadow. And from the underwater artesian basin here. So obviously the indigenous people of the area would make use of these wells. This one actually has some water in it. Now it's a bit green, but I reckon you'd boil that and you could drink that, I reckon. Straight from the underground, the artesian water basin. You wouldn't think so, would you? Out here in the middle of nowhere. The Aborigines, though, they knew what they were doing. Just a quick pit stop, and thought I'd just quickly show you the view, because as you can see, the scenery out here is just incredible. Absolutely stunning. All right, guys, let's keep moving. Now, one of the most famous pubs in Australia has reopened, guys, just 7 kilometres off the Birdsville Road, and you will arrive at Betoota, population 1. The publican. Do not come out all this way and not stop here. Betoota Hotel. They're back up and running. I got the shirt. The old saying of tell them where you've been by wearing a t-shirt. Made sure I got the shirt. The only place in the country you can get them. This is the final stop I wanted to make on the way into Birdsville. This is the Serpent on the Rock, travelling through Mythica country. Now, to make sure you don't miss this, stop into Windora Information Centre and ask for a distance chart so you know when it is coming up, because even though it is huge on the landscape, it is a little hard to spot from inside the car. And by some miracle, I'm not sure how we've done it, but we're going to make it into Birdsville right on sunset. That is pretty awesome, I think. Now, I've got to say, coming into Birdsville, the town I've wanted to visit since a child, was pretty amazing. And as you can see already, there's been some epic highlights. So I'm going to have to pause it there, folks, and have a part 2 next week. Otherwise, this will just go on forever. I'm calling Birdsville the halfway mark in this journey. Tune in next week for part 2, which I guess will be the true Outback. Make sure to subscribe, plenty coming your way this year. Also remember to start sending in your questions for the Q&A episode. That will follow after, I guess, part 2 of this wrap up. I want to answer your questions, folks, so send them in the comments below or on Insta or Facebook. Also, let me know what part of the trip you have really enjoyed. So next week, tune in, part 2 of the best bits of this Outback Trip Series 1. We'll catch you then.